Hello and welcome to KnightHunter Books. This is John. I thought I'd do something a bit different. Feel free to let me know if this is completely off topic for BookTube. I thought I'd actually talk about webcomics. I've got some physical ones here, don't worry, but often webcomics, just a nice drip of fiction on a daily or semi-daily basis to keep you going through the week. Now, any nerds watching will know this one. XKCD, stick figure art, often quite obscure jokes, no ongoing narrative, but one that an awful lot of people follow. Randall Monroe, who creates it, has also written a few books. A recommendation for a comic that's finished, actually, so you can go through and read the entire back catalogue, is A Softer World. And this is an interesting one if you've got a fairly dark sense of humour. They're all 3-panel comics, pretty much all this format, no ongoing thread again, and generally the panel structure is nice, nasty, and it flips it around. They're quite macabre, but they're really quite good fun. Some more narrative comics, so something with a bit more thread to it. Now, one that I've been reading for quite a while is called Questionable Content. I'll put a picture here. It's ostensibly SF, but it really depends where you start reading. It'll either look like science fiction or it'll look like a load of friends hanging around in a coffee shop. It's been running for years, and it is a near future universe. There's at one point they visit a space station and there's AIs running all over the place, but it's mostly about the characters, about the relationships between them, and it's very it's queer positive. There's lots of different body types, so it's good from that point of view, and just generally it's a really fun read. One that's not been running quite as long is Strong Female Protagonist. Now, this started as a webcomic. I backed the Kickstarter and got a print book. I know some people are put off by the name because it's a trope that people feel is overworn and there are different types of strong and so on, but this does really interesting things with it. I'll read you the flat copy. With super strength and invulnerability, Alison Green used to be one of the most powerful superheroes around. Fighting crime with other teenagers under the alter ego Mega Girl was fun, until an encounter with Menace, her mind-reading archenemy. He showed her evidence of a sinister conspiracy, and suddenly battling giant robots didn't seem so important. Now Alison is going to college and trying to find ways to actually help the world while still getting to class on time. It's impossible to escape the past, however, and everyone has their own idea of what it means to be a hero. The comic starts quite quickly with Alison unmasking herself on live TV, and she decides that actually, rather than run around and punch poor people who are driven to crime, she'd actually try and change the world and make it so that there were fewer people driven to crime. It's less dry than I make it sound. It's really interesting and it's really well done. The last one I think I'm going to mention is, well, I've got a picture of it here, but I'll put a picture of it there as well. It's Atomic Robo. Now, Atomic Robo, it's just really good fun, but it's modern pulp with progressive sensibilities. And how do you combine all that? Well, you have an atomic-powered robot built by Tesla, and when I say Tesla, I mean the Victorian scientist. At one point, you also find out what happened to Edison. It's not pretty. Atomic Robo is pretty much immortal. It jumps around through time, and you see him with different groups of people that he's gathered around him at different times, generally trying to do the right thing. His idea of what the right thing is gets more complicated as he gets older, as it does with all of us. The writers have put out a statement saying that how they will deal with certain things. So none of their female characters will ever face sexual violence. They've said that up front. That's quite nice. Again, it features a diverse cast and quite a lot of different body types, and it's just really good fun. If you ever wanted to read something about, an atomic-powered robot punching Nazi clones in a giant subterranean base, this is your comic. Probably good for fans of Hellboy. So, when I'm not reading books, often I'm reading webcomics. Hopefully that's given you a few places to start. I'll put all the links down in the description. Webcomics are an interesting form. I've been following them for a very long time now. I'm old. And they've gone in different directions, different ways to fund them. In the early days, bandwidth bills were such that if your webcomic really rapidly increased in popularity, it could kill your comic because you couldn't afford to keep the website online. And I think two interesting sort of examples here. So, Strong Female Protagonist, I mentioned, that started as a webcomic. They've used Kickstarter to fund the jump into print. It's a lovely full-colour printed book, and I'm hoping there's going to be a second one, because it's much easier to push in people's hands and say, read this, it's really good. The Atomic Robo, on the other hand, has gone the other way. They started out as print books, and they have now, they've again done a Kickstarter to fund a line of merchandise, including the t-shirt, and they've put all of their archives of comics online. They're now a webcomic first, with print following after for superfans. So it's an interesting space to look at publishing models and where book publishing might be going. And see you again next time.